Okay, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our sine graph compared to our 3 sine of x. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and graph this on our calculator. You'll see that I want to make sure I'm in the degree mode. Your mode button is right here, highlighted in red. If you're not in the degree mode, arrow down, over to degree, hit enter. Then we'll go to our y equals, and we're going to type in the sine of x. And then we'll go down and we'll type in the 3 sine of x. And we want to compare these graphs to see what they look like. Now before I hit graph, I'm going to go ahead and go zoom. And since we're dealing with trigonometry, I'm going to use number 7 of zoom trig. So here comes in my basic sine graph. We know sine goes up to a height of 1 down to a depth of -1. Oh, now we have that 3 sine of x. And I think I messed that one up. Just a second here. Yep, I put an extra 3 in there. Sorry about that. You guys probably noticed that right away. So we'll quickly graph again. So the basic sine graph. Wow, that's slow. Oh, here we go. You notice when we're looking at this, the only thing that's changing, it's not being stretched horizontally at all. It's just going 3 times higher and 3 times lower. So with that in mind, we can go ahead and talk through this stuff. So that 3 in front of the sine does a vertical stretch of 3. How far up and down you go from that horizontal axis is 3. So you want to go ahead and pause and do that over here. We have an amplitude of 0.5 and a vertical stretch of 0.5. You go a half a unit above and you go a half a unit below. Now, if you've not done so, graph this. Look at what it looks like on your calculator. And you notice we're not going up and down any farther. We're still going up and down the same. However, our period's a lot shorter. In one full complete period here in the green, we have 3 periods of the red. So in other words, that 3 in front of the x is doing a horizontal stretch, and it's a horizontal stretch of 1/3, meaning its period is 1/3 the length. So our period, how far you have to go before you repeat, is 2 pi over 3. 2 pi is the normal period, and so we take 2 pi. If you were dealing with degrees, you go 360 divided by 3, and you get 120. If you're dealing with radians, it's 2 pi divided by 3. So we'll do that over here. Graph this, and then we'll look at it. And we get a horizontal stretch of 2, meaning it's twice as wide. It takes twice as long before the period is repeated. So we have a horizontal stretch of 2, so our period would no longer be 2 pi, but 4 pi. Or instead of being 360 degrees, it would be 720 degrees. Your period here was that 2 pi divided by that half. Remember, instead of dividing by half, you multiply by 2. So given this right here, if you have a number in front of your sine or cosine, it does a vertical stretch, and you would have an amplitude of whatever that value is. Now, amplitude has to be positive, so that's why it's an absolute value here. And then we also have the number in front of x. That does a horizontal stretch, which then affects your period. Your period is 360 divided by b, or if you're radians, it'd be 2 pi divided by b. So looking at this graph here, go ahead and try to find your amplitude, your period, your frequency, your midline, and the equation of your midline. So amplitude is maximum minus minimum divided by 2. Your maximum is 8. Your minimum is -4. So we have to go 8 minus a -4 divided by 2. And then we end up getting an amplitude of 6. Your period is how far you have to go before it starts to repeat. Well, here you're at a height of 2 and going up. Here you're at a height of 2 going up, but it's not the same after that. So we got to go all the way over to about here. And you'll notice if I just take this and slide it over here, I get the exact same graph. So what I have cut out right here is the length of one complete period, just slightly over 6. So about 6.2 or something along that lines. Now frequency is just the reciprocal of your period. So you got to go 1 divided by your period, and then you could just work that out on your calculator and you get about 0.16. Now to find the equation of your midline, that's the horizontal line that's cutting your graph in half. So it's got to be half above and half below. So it's right in the middle. So it's basically the average of the top and the bottom, the max and the min. So we already knew our max and our min from up here. So we add them together, divide by 2, and we get 2. So the equation of the midline is y equals 2.